Greetings to all, my name is Charlotte Mercier and I am a lecturer at the University of Lorraine. In the next few minutes, I will introduce you to a new method for analysis and design of access scaffolds. First, I will begin with the introduction. Scaffolds are temporary work equipment commonly used on construction sites. There are two types of scaffoldings: the support scaffolds that support heavy loads such as concrete weight, and the second, the access scaffolds, which provide a working platform during construction period, so they support light to moderate loads. Access scaffolds are the focus in this research. The design of a structure is carried out in two stages. The first is the analysis of the structures, known as the global analysis. The aim is to determine the stresses generated by the external loads. This global analysis must be carried out on the entire structure. This therefore requires the development of three-dimensional models. In the scaffold fields, several researchers have developed models. However, the resulting verification criteria are often complex. The structures must therefore be decomposed into juxtaposed planar substructures. In the particular case of access scaffold, due to the stiffness provided by diagonals, ledger, and platform units, the three-dimensional behavior of the scaffolds is governed by the planar behavior of the scaffolding ladders. The second stage in the design of a structure is the strength and stability verifications. Thus, the more thorough the global analysis, the simpler resulting verification criteria, and vice versa. The objective of this study is firstly to provide a review of the current principle of verification for the design of access scaffolds. And the second objective is to develop a new method for analysis and design the access scaffolds, methods which must be more accurate as the current one, make it possible to decouple the effects of each load, and make it possible to take into account the resistance capacity of the cross-section. To this end, the presentation will be divided into 4 parts. In the first part, I will review the current principles of verification of access scaffolds. In the second part, I will tell you about the development of the new indirect methods. In the third part, I will present the procedure for analysis and design access scaffolds. And finally, I will end with a conclusion. Let's move on to the part 1. In Europe, the design of a scaffold structures must be carried out in accordance with the European Design Code for steel structures, the European Design Code specific to facade scaffolds, and the European Design Code for temporary work equipment. According to the latter two, the design of a scaffolding structures can be carried out in 2 ways. The first, the direct methods, which consist of taking into account initial imperfections and second-order effects in the global analysis of the structure, and the structure verification is made from the nonlinear plastic resistance cross-section criteria. The second method, the indirect methods, which does not require the introduction of initial imperfections and second-order effects in the global analysis of the structures. The structures verifications must then be carried out using the interaction formulae of Eurocode 3. There are 2 interaction formulae, one with elastic resistance, and a second with linear plastic resistance. The Karahi coefficient can be determined using Annex A or B of Eurocode 3. We have therefore compared these 2 methods by applying them to 2 typical examples. The first is a facade scaffold, and the second is a showing tower. Both structures are subject to the following loads. We have therefore applied the direct methods for each of these both structures. To do this, we integrated the initial imperfections into the global analysis by modeling them as a single imperfections. Then we performed a second-order analysis to obtain the axial and bending moment. Then we applied the nonlinear plastic resistance cross-section criterion and we obtained the following results. On the other hand, we applied the indirect methods. Here, the initial imperfections are not included in the global analysis and only a first-order analysis was performed to determine these axial forces and bending moments. Applying the interaction formulae with an X, A or B, the following results for both structures are obtained. We therefore compare the results of the two methods. It can be seen that the error induced by the indirect methods compared to the direct one carries from plus 16% to plus 140%. This difference comes from, on the one hand, the buckling coefficient chi. In fact, it remains constant whatever the load acted on the structures. Moreover, when defining this buckling coefficient here, the resistance to bending moment is only an elastic one, whereas with the direct methods, this moment is a nonlinear plastic resistance moment. In the same way, the interaction formulae do not exploit the nonlinear plastic resistance capacity. In fact, the C(i) coefficient reduces the plasticity resistance to bending moment. To overcome all these problems, we have developed a new indirect methods. Let's go to the second part and the definition of these new indirect methods. To establish these new indirect methods, we start from the behavior of a beam columns with initial imperfections and even initially from a simply member with an initial imperfections E0 and stressed in pure compression. The internal stresses in this member are the axial force NED and the internal bending moment MED. This internal bending moment MED is due to the internal force NED and the initial imperfections E0. We call it MED imp. Its expression is the following. Thus, the nonlinear plastic resistance criterion of the simplest member is this one. We now extend our criterion to the more general case of a beam columns with initial imperfections. In this case, the internal stresses are also axial force NED and internal bending moment MED, but here the internal moment is due to, firstly, the internal force and the initial imperfections as previously, and secondly, the transverse load, so we call it MED trans. The nonlinear plastic criterion therefore becomes this ones, where MED is the summations of the two previous bending moments. The difficulty of these new indirect methods is to determine the internal bending moment MED imp. Indeed, it is a matter of finding the shape of the initial imperfections which induce the most unfavorable internal forces without, however, modeling them. For this purpose, we have established a procedure to identify these calculation sections, which we called instabilities calculation area. The bending moment resulting from this method is the maximum that can be obtained in the structures. It is this value that can be of the bending moment, MED imp, that we will be used for the resistance verifications at any point in the structure. We have therefore applied this new indirect methods to the two previous examples. Here, I will present the applications of these new indirect methods for the facade scaffolds. The first step is to identify all possible instabilities calculation area. In these structures, we can consider the area where the actual force is maximum and the area where the relative slenderness is maximum, so which induces a maximum initial imperfections is 0. We therefore apply the methods defined in the previous procedure. The maximum ratio is obtained here in the RAL scaffold standard. It is therefore this area that will be the instabilities calculation area. And the bending moment MED imp is then 0.563 kN. The second step is the verification of the facade scaffold. For the example, we have considered the most stressed area in each scaffold standard. The MED imp bending moment is the same in the both sections, and we use the one found in the previous step, so 0.563 kN. We apply the criterion of the new indirect methods, and we obtain the following results. The same method is applied to the showing tower, which will give us the following results. We can thus see that the results between the two methods are equivalent. The maximum error is now only 12 plus 12.4%. So, the new indirect methods allow a reasonable and safe estimations of the structural verification criteria. To accompany these new indirect methods, we have developed a procedure for the analysis and the design of scaffold structures, which I will now present to you. Here is the calculation procedure. We find here the nonlinear plastic resistance cross-section criterion when the initial imperfections are included in the global analysis, and here the new indirect methods when the initial imperfections are not included. This procedure provides a better grasp of the stages of a scaffold design. So I will end this presentation with the conclusion. For example, we have shown that the indirect methods currently defined in Eurocode 3 do not provide equivalent results to the direct one. So we define a new indirect method enabling the equivalence with the direct one, exploit the nonlinear plastic resistance capacity, and makes it possible to differentiate the effect of each load. The analysis and design procedure enables a better grasp of the stages of the scaffold designs. And finally, the different examples prove the performance of the proposed methods. This concludes my presentation. Thank you for your attention and for your time. Good conference to all, and goodbye.